How's it going, sexies? I'm Remy, and this is the comprehensive guide to making Y2K big beat. So, big beat was the mainstream electronic sound of 1997 to 2005. Like every form of screen media and beyond was soundtracked almost exclusively by big beat. Movie trailers, movies, TV shows. Notable examples including Blade, all three of them, The Matrix, Futurama, of fucking course, one of the most well-known and quintessential big beat tracks. And yeah, it was in every fucking movie trailer. Every scene where a bunch of dudes in like fucking leather trench coats and shit were beating the shit out of other dudes in leather trench coats and sunglasses usually and beyond. Every vaguely sci-fi or thriller or anything like that movie had it. But big beat actually managed to pave its way as a standalone genre separate from screen and shit as well. Notable artists include The Prodigy, Fatboy Slim, The Chemical Brothers, and The Crystal Method. And many others whose names aren't as conducive to Breaking Bad names. Now, I fucking love big beat because stylistically it draws inspiration from loads of genres that I just fucking love. Some of my favorite genres, like fucking hip-hop, funk, trance, electro, and it takes inspirations from other genres too, like techno. So as you can imagine, from that huge stylistic influence, big beat ends up having a massive range of sounds. So in order to try and have like a fair recreation of big beat as a genre, to, you know, legitimize the use of the word comprehensive, I've made two tracks which I'm going to break down, which are on almost polar ends of what can be considered big beat, kinda. One's slow, one's fast. But yeah, I'm going to do basically two separate breakdowns, one after the other in this video. By the end of this video, I'm totally confident you'll be so good at making big beat that you will be able to beat anyone off. Alright, so that's done. Let's go to the first track. Alright, so the obvious place to start is the beat. First things first, you'll need an almond break. What I've done is I've just made it a bit louder, added some compression, like a fuck ton, really just to make each drum hit. And then finally, a lot of heavy EQing just to make the pop of the snare really just come out. That's so it retains that distinctive almond break tone even when it gets layered with other drums, which brings us onto layering with other drums. Alright, next up, I've just grabbed another random break from Logic's loop library. Proud loop user right here. And then another one. This one's got some EQing to get rid of the low end and just some EQing up here to bring out the punch. And then one more. Alright, those all together sound like this. There is one more secret ingredient to add to that, and that is a really fat kick, which isn't part of any break, it's just a raw kick by itself. Chuck that in mirroring the dominant kick pattern that everything else is doing. Check it out. There you go, it's subtle, but it adds so much. Alright, on top of that, just add a crash cymbal. And the next big thing is fills. So at the end of every 8-bar phrase, just have some different drums leading into the next phrase. I think that's really common in big beat is having these big, super fast, resampled drum fills. Like that. So just chuck one of those in and add like another little break chop, which has like a flanger kind of thing going on. Fuck yeah. Alright, so that is the beat. Our next step is to make it big. That's not too hard. What I've done is I've just run it through a Y2K preamp emulator and then some glue compression with a bit of saturation, and then also tape emulator just to give it some more saturation. Without, with. Next step, we're getting into some melodic stuff. You'll want a bass line. So I've got this one. So what I've done is I've gone and chopped up a couple of Apple Logic bass loops with the quick sampler. I've put it through a bunch of processing, starting off with a bass amp, then a decapitator for saturation, a compressor for compression, and OTT to make it not sound totally muffled, an isotope trash working as an exciter to also make it not sound totally muffled, and then a channel EQ to make it not totally harsh, just getting rid of some shit there. And with all that on top, it sounds like this. Funky. Next up, do the same thing, get a guitar that's just playing the same melody. Sick. kick. You can also chuck some orchestra hits at the start of each phrase. It's very like quintessentially hip-hop thing to do. Alright, now let's make it a bit more electronic. Let's add some techno shit. Starting off with, obviously, the 303. You can chuck down like breakdown sections or just to, you know, add some more textural development as the track goes on. Also, you can add this kind of like trance thing. In Serum, I've got like an emulation of the JP8000 I made with a bandpass filter, and then I've had an LFO tool set to pan, so it's going left and right. Then a phaser, just to give it some movement, decapitator to make it a bit crunchy, a limiter to limit it, and then a delay to give it space. Sick. On top of that, you can add a tiny bit of sidechain from the drums if you want, but yeah, it's not totally necessary. Like, this is basically imperceptible, just to kind of cheat with drum mixing a bit. Next up, we want some vocals. Big beat as a genre and Futurama are so closely tied. I just had to go for a Futurama sample. So yeah, I've kind of like chopped it up and put it into various places. Kind of chopped it up a bit.
You can talk trash, you can handle the ball, but look in your heart and ask yourself, are you funky enough?
And on the tagline, I've got this delay thing just to make it a bit bigger. It's a super short delay, just kind of makes it feel like it's in a space, you know?
Are you funky enough?
Also, in this bit, just kind of chopped it up so it sounds like it's being scratched on a vinyl.
Funky.
Okay.
Are you funky enough? Deal with it.
And also on top of that, I've just added this record vinyl scratch sample, which I've distorted the shit out of and LFO panned just to make it move. But final step, this is really important, the effects. You want all kinds of like crazy, wacky, sci-fi shit happening. First one I've got is just some wind gusts in the intro, just to add some tension, you know, develop the atmosphere of the track. Next up, a riser, and then like a whole bunch of shit like this. No, like loads of these I've just like ripped from like early 2000s, late 90s stock sound libraries. Like, God, they're fucking gold if you want like goofy ass sci-fi effects like that. Last step is structuring everything. Just kind of have like an A section which introduces the main melodic part. I've just got the bass playing with some effects. Then the first verse, I suppose, where the drums come in. And then the first breakdown, where the drums more or less drop out. And it's just the instruments again, everything's building up. And then finally, we go back to the second verse where everything hits again, everything gets funky, and then it ends. And that is the first track. Visual-wise, I've kind of like cut up a whole bunch of early 2000s, late 90s movie trailers and music videos and shit to make the absolutely maximally quintessential Y2K vibe. So, enjoy.
You can talk trash, you can handle the ball, but look in your heart and ask yourself, are you funky enough? Are you funky enough? Please let me come with you. I can make myself taller. Bender, you can talk trash, you can handle the ball, but look in your heart and ask yourself, are you funky enough? No. Deal with it. Are you funky enough?
Alright, track 2. So this one is going to be a lot slower than the other one. The last one was like in the like 120, 130 range. This one, let's go around 95. First step again is the drums. Start with an amen break again, obviously. But much slower. And then, like before, layer a bunch of breaks and then add the kick pattern. I've also added this kind of like, I don't know, there's like a Backstreet Boys vibe to it. It's really quiet. I just added some processing just to make it sit better. Yeah, so stack the breaks, and then we're going to add not just a kick, but a snare now as well. On top of that, we're going to add a ride. And also like a big reverb snare hit thing. Alright, together the drums sound like this. Yeah, now make it big again. My god, that is one of the biggest beats I've ever heard. Alright, now for the melodic parts. For guitar line, I ripped something from, it's like stock music from a Barocca ad I found. So I've pitched it up like a semitone and then added like some limiting and some exciting. Yeah. Sick. And then in the verse, I've just kind of doubled it with a dual mono decapitator with slightly different settings so that it gets really wide without phase cancellation. Bassline, this one is a lot less movement bassline than the last one. It's more just kind of like progressive and crunchy, I suppose. What I've got is a bass. I've added a whole bunch of processing on top of that to make it like crunchy as fuck. Yeah. On top of that, I've laid that with like a Moog bass, which is like I've distorted the shit out of to make it like an acidy bass line. Together those sound like this. And speaking of acid bass lines, also get an acid bass line. And have it kind of like build up, cut off, opens, whatever. Now, you'll also want a whole lot of background layers on top of that. I've got this thing. And also this. A lot of big beat tracks do like the gated trance pad thing, which is what I'm going for here. I've got this like vocoder thing, I think. And I've just got like a trance gate on it, an LFO tool. And then I've just added some more shit to like fatten it up and make it move a bit more. Got some more shit like that. Sick. Next step, effect. Yeah, so this is more or less the same as last time. I actually wanted to give it like a laser skirmish vibe, almost. So yeah, I've just got like a fucking whole lot of vintage effects from like the early 2000s and shit, and chucked a whole bunch of delay on some of them to make it big and, you know, all that sci-fi. Yeah, sick. That's effects. Alright, final, most crucial, and probably sickest part is the vocals. You want to get a lot of like rap and hip-hop samples. You want like a one-bar tagline kind of one. Got this one off Splice, I think. Then I've copied the last bit and added a fuck ton of delay to it, and also some more limiting, so it kind of like washes out. Also, you want to like scratch it a bit so it sounds like it's record scratching. Alright, and also you will want a rap a cappella. I've gone for the first Ninja Turtles verse from Epic Rap Battles of History, TMNT versus Artists. Fuck me, that shit slaps. It goes so hard. And yeah, processing wise, I've done some similar shit to the last vocals. I've got a transient shaper on it just to add a bit of punch, decapitator to distort it, frontier to fatten it up, and channel EQ to get rid of the bottom end. And it sounds like this. I don't think you wanna mess up my guitar to play, but I can't even find me helicopter fly away. I can be bound for steady rock a mic sucker. I'm a pristine, sistine nunchucker. I don't think you wanna mess up my guitar to play, but I can't even find. And then structure it again, and you're set. We're done. Now, for this track, I was going to make it visual for the demo, but I worked out that it just works so uncannily well with the Blade 2 trailer. So I'll just be using that instead. Alright, enjoy.